upset with what they've done. However, there are equal opposing forces inside of Romania, one trying to lock me up and one that keeps setting me free.
And that's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, so I have people in this country on my team. The whole country's not against me or I never would have got out. So
do you feel like they're more moving towards your direction?
This will be dropped. I'm not going to be found guilty because I haven't done anything wrong. But
and if you don't mind me asking, what did they try to pin you for?
They accused me of human trafficking. They accused me of using the lover boy method, which is convincing girls by being nice to do a job to take the money from the girls. Because I told 2 of my friends who are girls how to get big on TikTok.
That's why all of this happened to you?
Yeah.
So did somebody else plant this on you?
Oh yeah, the Matrix.
Okay, gotcha.
You got too big. Your ability to speak, which that's a side point. Let me just finish here about what I was talking about money and gearing up for war. Since January, I haven't had access to a single dollar. Now I'm me, right? So perhaps I have very rich friends. Perhaps I was paranoid and prepared. Perhaps I have multiple identities. Who knows how I pulled it off to have all new cars again, right? But most humans could not survive getting grabbed from their house in January, all of their bank accounts frozen, every app on their phone taken away from them, their passport seized, thrown in a cell, and then taken out of that cell, locked in their house for 5 months, and then even when they're allowed out the house, they still don't have a dollar. How do you pay the rent? How do you pay the bills? How do you feed people? And this is what's actually interesting, because when I was in jail, my number one concern...
You know what is interesting here? Is that when you are a chess player, like, you study the move, 4 or 5, I don't know how much you think ahead, but you think ahead, too much think ahead. Like, even you think how he's thinking about you, how he's thinking, and you go so on. You understand my point? So being a chess player and a chess master, if I understand he's a good chess player, he knows what's gonna happen. And that's scary, because usually how I operate is that I just go directly to action.
Concerns were not for me. My biggest concerns when I was in jail was for everyone I care about. Yeah. I'd get my phone time, and I'd be on the phone like, okay, and they're like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, listen, we only have 5 minutes.
Let me make sure you get paid.
Is this paid? Yeah. Are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that? I just spent all my time trying to look after other people from a prison cell with seized bank accounts.
Did you think you were going to come out?
No. I thought I was there for a very long time. I thought I was stuck. I thought it was over. I was sitting there talking to people who were there, been there for 4 years without trial, my friend. Everyone around me had been there for years without trial.
When you were put on house arrest, was there any moment that you cried from like happiness? It was like, I'm out. I can't believe I'm out.
I never cried from happiness. And I never cried from sadness, because I think crying is an act in and of itself. To cry is to sit and cry. I didn't do that. I did have tears run down my face.
Hey man, that's crying.
No, it's not, because I was busy. Having tears run down my face as I'm doing push-ups, or tears run down my face as I'm organizing the school for my child and my voice isn't breaking, is different than sitting and crying. I didn't sit and dedicate myself to crying. I didn't sit and do the act of crying. My eyes leaked as I achieved. That's what happened to me when I was inside of jail.
What made your eyes leak the most? What was the most
concern? Okay, if you say so.
My concern was for everybody else.
The number one, though, who's the person that you were like, I need to make
Thoughts
sure
on
that
this?
I look good in their eyes, and I need to make sure that they're good?
Of course I can
my
answer
mom,
that my children, but my children are actually quite young, so they weren't overly concerned, because at their age, you know, dad's away, whatever. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was just an overarching view of everything. And I felt a frustration because I had built this monumental empire and it got seized from me, which is a whole nother conversation we can go down when you talk about ownership and property and how the matrix works.
You don't own anything.
Well, you never do.
I mean, you owned all this, but then they're like...
That's right. So what do you own? You own the body you're in, perhaps, but then they force you to get a vaccine, so maybe you don't own that anymore. You own your soul. You can own your thoughts, but then that belongs to God. So then what do you even own now on this planet? Because I have people say to me all the time, oh, I'd love to buy a house. And I own my house. You don't own that house. You have to pay property taxes every month. And if you don't pay them, they'll take it off you. You're renting it from the government. Piss the government off and you'll see how long you own your house. Because I tell you what's going to happen. They're going to turn up with a piece of paper and say it's ours. Done. Happened to me. So you never even own anything on this earth. No matter how much
I'm
money,
thinking of...
Right? Which also puts money in perspective. All it is the time and energy of other people. It's all it's good for. You can buy a Bugatti, but you don't own that Bugatti. You can drive it a bit if they let you. And piss the matrix off enough, they'll take that off you too. So the whole world, if you actually start analyzing how it all works, is interesting. But yeah, my concerns in jail were for absolutely everybody else. And that's perhaps why I'm gearing up for war so heavily, because I believe that this war can't be avoided. And a lot of people ask me, why with my money do I not do one of two things, which is one, vanish, because I could just delete everything and shut up, right? I could just go away.
But that's not you.
That's not me, and I think that God would be disappointed in me. So I think God's given me this platform to tell the truth, so I'm going to do it. Or the second thing is I could sell out to the system. I could cut.
It's also not you.
It's not me. I could sell to the system, say what they want me to say, promote the things they want me to promote, sell shit to kids, be a piece of shit, and then they'll let me live.
But then you just remove the only thing that you do own, and it's your soul.
Absolutely. And
you don't want them to take that away.
No, exactly. I need to keep something.
Yeah.
So it ain't worth giving that up for a bit more money, because I have unlimited money anyway.
Yeah, but plus, every time you swipe that card when you're gone, you're like, fuck my life, dog. This is anymore.
Oh, completely. What do you have if you don't look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I did the right thing, then what do you even have?
Oh, boom. Not pride, but integrity.
Okay. Well, we could link the two. You look in the mirror and be proud of yourself. But it's interesting. No, but it's interesting the points you've made. It's giving me something to think about. It's certainly true. But that's why I'm gearing up for war so heavily, because this war, when people ask me why I don't try and avoid it in the two ways we just described, I don't think most people understand that this war is coming for everyone. It can't be avoided. You're either going to become someone like me who's fighting against it, the counterculture, or you're going to buy into it and be a victim of it. I don't think any man who wakes up and accepts the garbage that the Matrix tells them, that, yeah, it's okay to be depressed, like we just talked about. Yeah, you should be running around doing perkies and Adderall and consuming porn and sleeping with a bunch of hoes. And, yeah, go to school and get an education and get in debt, and then go get a mortgage and get in debt, and then 9 to 5 and just slave away, and you'll be retired when you're 74. It's going to be fine. All the things they push, all the standardized mechanisms that a man's supposed to live his life by, I believe lead to crippling depression and sadness anyway. I don't think that makes anyone happy. So this war is twofold. You can either fight against the system and be its enemy like I am, or you can accept the system, and then you're going to be fighting against yourself in your head, because now you're your own enemy, because you listen to the system and you hate yourself and you hate your life. Yeah. So what do you want to do? If you can't avoid fighting, do you want to turn on yourself, or do you want to turn on your enemy? Every single part of me is on my team. My mind, my hands, my feet, everything, my teeth, you name it. If it goes to war, I've got every single weapon at my disposal. So when people say to me, why am I fighting this war? I say, you're in the war too. You're just going to be a casualty of it. You're going to be a forgotten name. Not even a name. You're going to be a number. In wars, it's interesting. In wars, you look at any war, they'll talk about 12,000 people died here. And
I like when he said, I watched it on TikTok, I like when he said, you can suffer as a somebody, or you can suffer as a nobody. The choice is yours.
One of them was this guy. There's names and there's numbers. So if you're going to go to war, you can decide, do you want to be a name or a number? Because people are going to die. People are going to die regardless. And this is why I teach the things I teach. I say to men, listen, you need to become as strong as possible. You need to make a bunch of money. You need to prepare. You need to have 7 passports in 7 different countries. And you just start sitting there getting paranoid and panicking and getting things done. This is why I push masculine excellence, because when they come for you, when they come for us all, if you have no weapons to defend yourself, you're going to be one of the 12,000 in the ditch.
So you're going to be numbers.
At least when they kill me, they know who they killed. At least they'll say they killed 12,000 men and Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
At least I get that. You have to aim for something. But this war can't be avoided, and everyone at home doesn't seem to realize
Here's the thing that, like, I'm going to put you a little bit at ease and scare you at the same time.
I'm ready.
They killed Jesus, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, they killed God.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wanted it to happen. Thank God he did. But here's the craziest part. Hey, man.
Okay.
And when you talk about pride and you talk about all the stuff that we were talking about, I found this new confidence where I walk in a room and I just own it immediately. And it's a new way of thinking. My confidence comes with the Lord. Every room I walk into, this meeting,
Allah is with
I
you.
said, God, you go
Do
before
not be
me.
scared.
Yep.
You take my tongue. You take my mind. Yep. You take my body.
Yep.
When you walk into a room and you have this type of faith, hypothetically, say I'm an idiot.
Yep.
Say I am completely a nutcase.
Yep.
I guarantee you I outworked the old George that didn't have that faith.
Oh, absolutely. And you can also apply the same to fighting. Like if you look at the Islamic fighters, they say, all glory to God. God's already decided. I'm just going to go in there. They're so calm.
Yeah, and by the way, that's scary.
It's
dude.
super scary.
Yo, if you walk into a dude and he's just super calm,
it doesn't care.
Fuck all that. I don't even want to be here anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, like if I were to agree, and if I were to do a fight now, I know that it's in God's hands. So I'd be as calm. I'd be nervous, of course, and I'd want to be nervous, but I'd know, like, look, this is in God's hands. God's already decided. Allah's the best of planners. He will decide if I need to win and destroy.
It's already written, so why not just go for it?
That's working off of fear, not faith. Faith is so beautiful when you could use it, and fear is such a poison, bro. And I don't know if you've really hung out with people that have fear. It's an addictive personality.
Oh, it's sticky.
It's very sticky.
Yeah.
Very sticky. Have you ever watched something on TikTok or Instagram and then all day you're just thinking about it and you're like, this motherfucker can't leave my brain, dude. Yeah. I am now limiting myself on what I'm absorbing.
Bro, I don't talk. I want to make this very clear. One of the best things about money is I've managed to create my reality absolutely. I don't talk to anyone I don't want to talk to. If you come to me and say we can make $100 million, but I don't like your shirt, then you can get fucked. That's my life now, because I don't need money and I don't like you. So that's who I am, right? So I've created my reality absolutely, and the number one thing I will not do is talk to negative people. I don't want to hear. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what happened.
What do you think about that? Can we see Logan Paul, Andrew Tate podcast? Like talking together, having a debate about this? No fighting, just the debate with conversation. And who do you think he's gonna win verbally?
If all you do is complain, you are not around me, because it is sticky. It's sticky to you. It's sticky to the universe. It leaves a residue. I don't want to hear it. Everyone around me is happy. And not only happy, we're the kind of people, if we're in a trench and we're getting shelled, we're laughing.
Yep.
We're like, missed. Woo-hoo. That's who we are. Bro, they just hit me with the largest matrix attack on the planet. I should be destitute and disappeared. Here I am on your podcast. I just pulled up in a brand new sports car. I'm like a cockroach, and you drop the nuke to kill everyone. And the cockroach crawls out with Top G on the back. It's all hilarious, bro. It's a joke. Human trafficking for TikTok. The whole thing's a joke, but here I survive. So you have to be that person. And even my brother and I in jail, sometimes we just look at each other. We'd be sitting there in jail. And sometimes we'd look at each other and just burst out laughing. Like, this is so ridiculous. But I don't have time for negative people. And especially when negative people come out with their sub stories, I guess I'm kind of fortunate that God has put me through so many difficult things. When people tell me their sub stories, I'm sitting there going, is that it? You're a fuck up because of that? You should have seen what I had to do. Like, so I don't even want to hear it. I'm not interested in it. And you're right. You have to be careful who you're around, because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
It's true.
Yeah, you are who you hang out with. Dude, there's a reason why God says sheep.
Yeah.
We're
That's
sheep.
why we have an expression in Arabic. We say, قولي شكون هو صاحبك نقول لك شكون أنت. Tell me who's your friend, I will tell you who you are.
Yep.
We're all sheep, bro. I don't need to bring up my past, but my behaviors were intolerable because of the people around me.
Oh, absolutely.
You are who you hang out with. My father would tell me that all the time. He'd be like, hey, cut it out, bro. You need to stop hanging out with these people that are bringing you down.
You know what's interesting about that point before we move on? It's really interesting that people understand. I've never met somebody who disagrees with the point. You are the person who you are the sum of the people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees with that. But then they hang around with dickheads.
Well, you know
why? Where's the disconnect between those 2 points?
Because
True,
people
it's true.
like for other people to feel bad for them. They hang on to that. That's their identity.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
He made me think of this one. This one was, I don't have much to say about it, but he really made me think about it. Like, literally people like, it's true.
That's their identity.
What's their favorite emotion? Sympathy. Like we said earlier. Their
Sympathy.
favorite emotion is sympathy. They're looking for sympathy. That's what they want. That's what makes them feel good. That's their favorite food. You have to choose what your favorite food is. My favorite food, I'll be honest with you, and I actually respect, and you give me a lot to think about. And without being arrogant, at my echelon, it's not often I sit down with somebody and they say something that makes me think. But you've given me something to think about, and genuinely, I'm going to think about it. But my favorite food is pride. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I love when my woman comes to me and goes, you know what? You just fix everything. They had you in jail, Andrew. You were supposed to be done. They're lying about you all over the MSN. They're saying you're a human trafficker. They stole all your money. They froze all your banks. Why am I on a jet with roses? Because I'm the top G. That's why. Because I'm that guy. She's like, you've just never failed. I've never seen you fail. So correct. I do not fail.
I have something to tell you. And just randomly, I just learned about this, and it fits you so well.
Sure.
I read it again in the Bible. Okay? There's going to be so many people that are like, but yeah, I don't give a shit.
But that's what the
Nah,
knowledge is.
it's good,
my
bro.
grandma is from strict Christian.
Inform us.
And she's from Alabama, like down the sticks, middle of dirt mud, Alabama. And she, one of my aunts is a lawyer. And I remember my aunt, sorry to interrupt you. My aunt
No, I love this.
My aunt had a big court case coming up. and she'd spend half her time studying the case and half her time studying the Bible. And I remember being in her house. I must have been about 7 or 8 years old. And my mother asked her name is Liz, Liz, why are you reading the Bible so often? And she said, because that's where all the answers are.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's good
wisdom,
that you keep
man.
referencing it. Yeah.
Like I
The
reference
holy books are the knowledge. Read from them. So I'm enjoying how George is explaining explaining and how he's using it.
it because if I run,
Even if I don't
reference
believe
myself, I'm just listening
100%,
down a shit
whatever
path.
he's saying,
and
but
a lot of people get so annoyed.
I
Like, you
enjoy
think
it.
you're so holier than thou. You think you're perfect. Then you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
I'm a filthy dummy, and I'm trying to get myself out of it.
Yeah.
Matthew asks Jesus, I don't get it, man. Why are you talking to them in parables? And Jesus says, because you were given access to understand. So check this out. You just said, now I'm thinking about the pride thing. I think that you weren't supposed to think about the pride thing. I think God needed you to think this way. But I think now you're moving on to a different season.
Absolutely.
So I think you might need to reevaluate your tactics.
And we change every day.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of trials and tribulations and conversations. And that's the whole point of perspicacity in the first place. A lot of people lack it. Feedback is such an important thing. And feedback comes from life and from all areas. And we actually talked about this. I talked about this inside of my war room. I've got a private organization.
Andrew is using just society words, but George is more speaking of religious. He has more knowledge from the book, but he can also speak from the book of the Quran. There is all the knowledge is there. He can debate him with it, but I don't know why he's not using.
The war room where people can join, and it's
He used it one time or
masculine
two
network.
times.
It's kind of like a boys' club, kind of like guys, and we talk about making money. And
But it's
fitness and
nice
those other things.
debate.
But we were speaking, and a couple of the high-level war room
It's
guys
not a
said,
debate in here, sorry.
Andrew, I want to learn to speak like you do. The way you talk on podcasts is why they're so monumentally successful. I want to speak like you do. How do you practice? How often do you practice? And I tried to explain to him. I said, brother, you're 42 years old. I'm 36 years old. You've been speaking longer than me. So it's not about practice.
It's
the
true.
difference between you and I is
I know how to deliver.
and I make sure that I get feedback. So if I do a podcast, I will watch it back and write down every time I made a mistake or every time I could have used a different word. I will sit there and actually analyze my work to get better.
You reflect.
I reflect. If you don't reflect and you just speak, you stay shit.
Reed told me, he goes, I've never
It's
met
true.
a man. And
You
by
need
the
to
way, I didn't even
reflect. You need
notice
to
about
see
this.
yourself.
Like, have you ever like something you do all the time, you just don't even notice it,
Yeah.
and then somebody tells you and it fucks you up? You're like, oh damn, dude, I do that. I over reflect a lot.
Yep.
But here's the thing, dude. I realized this as soon as he mentioned this to me. I realized how other motherfuckers do not reflect at all. They'd rather
Yes. Yes. And I hate this. How you don't reflect on yourself? Like, how do you don't notice what the things you're doing? It's impossible. The things you're doing, they coming back to you, even if you don't want them. They coming back to you from another people telling them to you. How you cannot reflect to them, and you say, like, fuck it, I don't care. What the fuck you mean? You reflect on them, think about them, try to, try to make them. My English. Whatever. Fuck.
watch other people, then watch their fucking mouth, bro. That
right.
video where Jack Dorsey had a security guard and everybody was so mad at my opinion on it. Here's the thing, dude. Bad things happen. If you get punched in the face because of a security guard, yeah, he's wrong for that.
Yeah.
But why the fuck are you talking up to a dude 8 times your size when he's angry?
Yeah.
Do you have no common sense? Have you never been punched in the face before? You didn't try to de-escalate it. You were talking and getting mouthy.
That's right.
Some people need to get hit in the face for them to understand.
Abrasive.
Yeah.
It's true. Some people only learn the hard way, especially men. God's actually very nice because I believe God gives us a whole bunch of chances to learn a lesson the easy way.
It's called life.
Of course, He'll give you. Think of the harshest lesson. You don't even have to say what it is, but think of the harshest lesson you've had in the last few years, and think of how many times you had the easy.
One of the best expression I ever heard is. I also remember this one. You have 2 lives. The second one start when you understand that you have 1. Oh, that's also one of my favorite.
Easy way to learn that lesson. You could have just stopped.
I
being a
love that
dickhead
expression.
before it got bad.
Like that.
Think how many times you could have just woke up and go, nah.
Yeah.
But we don't, do we?
Nope.
We wake up like, we got away with it. It's fine. And then bam, you get hit. There's only 2 ways to learn lessons: hard and harder. If you're smart, you take it the hard way. Real idiots take
Sure,
it the
yeah.
hardest way.
Yeah.
But there's no easy way to learn lessons. So you're right. I agree with everything you say, and that's how God teaches anyway. That's how God is always going to teach, because God is a disciplinarian love. I think it says, someone said this to me, I think in school you learn things and then you're given a test, but with God you're given the test and then you learn things, and that's the way it works. That's why I was even in jail in the first place. That's what I was there for, to learn. That's why I went.
You're being sharpened.
Of course, I'm being sharpened. And you said earlier about me moving on to a new stage, a new evolution, and I hope that is true. I hope that the 50-year-old version of me thinks the 36-year-old version of me was an idiot.
I think he's going to be a lot more calmer.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I like to consider myself pretty smart, so if I'm even smarter, that's great. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I will be calmer. But it's all about reflection and self-reflection and looking back, and that's what we were saying earlier, because most people do not self-reflect on their actions ever. And you nailed it with the reap what you sow. And they don't understand why they end up where they end up. And they think it's someone else's fault.
They're like, I can't get anywhere in life. I'm like, yeah, because you work your 9 to 5. When you come home, you smoke weed and play PlayStation.
Why does everyone hate me? Because you do dumb shit and you make bad decisions.
People want the glory but no work.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And not just the glory and no work. They want the glory and no heat. I'll tell you something, man. If you ever end up, and I pray that you don't, in a precarious legal situation, you'll see all the people who want to hang around you when you're famous and when you can get girls, when you can go out and when you can pay bills, all that, they want to hang around for that. But the second their name gets brought up in this heat that you're in, they don't want the heat. No, people want the good. People want the good without the bad.
Hey, man, everybody has a Judas.
Yeah.
It's true. I saw a clip of I saw a clip of Aiden Ross. Yeah, Aiden Ross. And he was trying to call ISO speed and some Kaisenat or something. Kaisenat? Yeah, I think. Some other streamer. And I remember the clip saying like Aiden Ross, when he was the biggest one on the platform, he was helping them. He was going to their stream. They were streaming with him even when they were small. And when they become some bigger, I saw the clip that no one pick up on him, and what he's describing right now is exactly what is happening when you have not status, when you have money, fame, and some stuff. People hang out with you, but when you lose these kind of things, people start like, I'm a little bit tired. It's already past midnight, so I'm a little bit tired, and I was super excited to watch this video. I was really waiting for it. Since I heard about it, I was waiting for it, because here, it's wonderful, and I think this is the first time that I see Andrew thinking that much. And when it comes to George, he come to heart today, and he's explaining it really good. He's saying some wonderful words, like nicely words. He know how to attract him. He know how to have a debate, what to talk, what to say, and I enjoy the knowledge that he had from the book. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yep.
Tell me about it.
And you know what you said? I pray I'm not in it. I pray I'm in anything that God wants me to be a part of.
And you'll survive, because your mind's right.
Yeah. Your father used to talk about death a lot.
Yep.
God forbid something does happen to you.
Yeah.
What do you want to be known for?
Firstly, I would never kill myself. I'd like to make that clear. I would never kill myself.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, I never said you would.
No.
But you're stating that just in case.
I would never kill myself.
Gotcha.
Under any circumstances, no matter what they say. And I think I'll be remembered for somebody who was brave, because I know the danger I'm in if I continue to talk. And when I say this, just like when I used to say about the Matrix and how they lie to us all during COVID, people didn't believe me. I want people to understand the situation I am currently in.
I can't believe you if I never heard
the
the
popular person on the planet amongst the masculine youth, which is the most feared demographic of any country, of any nation. You need them heavily psyoped for a few reasons. One, if a bunch of masculine youth get together, it's not a demonstration, it's a revolution. That's the first thing. If women start complaining with picket boards, it's a demonstration. If masculine youth get together, it's a revolution.
Then you're dangerous because you don't even have a country.
Correct. All of them.
Yeah, well,
across the country,
shit.
across the world.
So they probably thought you were a terrorist.
Well, I could be. And that's what they're afraid of. So let's continue. So I have the number one demographic the Matrix needs to psyop. One, because of the revolutionary thing. Two, because you need them. They're the backbone of the slave force. You need them to build the roads. You need them to do the real work for low pay. They're the backbone of the slave force. They do the worst, hardest jobs for the shittest money, and they're the most depressed and most unhappy, and then women don't want to date them because they ain't got a Lambo, and they're sitting there depressed and unhappy, working their ass off, paying their taxes. You need those men psyoped. You don't want me coming along saying there's another way. And third, you need them to die in the military. You need these people. And I'm sitting here speaking to the exact people they don't want me speaking to. UK schools have banned me. My name cannot be mentioned in school in the UK or you get detention, you get punished.
What are you talking about?
My name can't be banned. Google Andrew Tate banned English schools. In England, if a child or a student says my name, they are reprimanded.
That doesn't make sense to me. How is there so much garbage in the world that is legitimately evil? And you could talk about it. Let me give an example. I don't think any man or woman should ever have the right to have their voice be taken. Let me give you an example. I love Jesus.
Yep.
When somebody came up to me, flicked me off and be like, F your God, blah, 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 this is that. Guess what? Hey, man, that's okay.
Yeah.
You have every right to say that.
Yeah.
So how is it even allowed?
Well, that's the thing. So we go down this path where we talk about
How is the mass not seeing that? That's a huge problem.
Well, this is the thing, and this is why I talk about the fact that I'm afraid of assassination, and some people think I'm exaggerating. I'm banned from being discussed in British schools. They feel like my name being mentioned in and of itself is detrimental, and they ban my entire name. The problem is
Voldemort.
if I have huge control over the mass
Britain
youth,
is too much
which
with Harry
the
Potter
Matrix
shit.
here, I'm banned from schools. I'm discussed in UK Parliament as a problem. You get to a certain point, and there is a level you can reach which is considered a national security threat. You just said terrorism. National security threats. Do you know what happens once you're deemed a national security threat? All bets are off.
Yeah, they're going to murder you.
All bets are off. If you're a national security threat, they just shoot you. If a terrorist turns up, what do? You shoot him, right? So I'm teetering on the edge of national security threat, and I'm trying very hard not to. I'm going on podcasts and talking about God, motivation, doing the right thing, working hard, respecting your parents, loving your woman. I'm talking about all the good things, but I'm in this situation now where I'm so immensely popular. When I was in jail, people started planning demonstrations and riots, and from jail, I was like, no, don't do that. If people start burning buildings, they're never gonna let me out.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep me in there forever. Like, no, just write emails happily. Like, just stop.
Happily, too. Happily.
But it's true. You know, it's scary. You're
But
in this
also,
position.
you want to teach men how to do it the right way. And I think when people are like, we got to fight for this cause, let's burn this lady's car.
Yeah.
To me, that's
weird.
ridiculous.
That's
There's
ridiculous. That's
I
ridiculous.
don't know how we even got to a place where rioting is even a thing
But this is another thing that's scary about power and influence, right? If I were to send a message on Twitter right now with a location and say, I'm going to be there in 2 days, with no promotion, no money, I wouldn't have to build a sexy video, nothing. There would be thousands and thousands of boys there. Is there one idiot? Probably. Is there one moron? I bet. Of course there is. There's a more. If you get a group of anybody, you're going to get one moron. Yeah. If that moron does something wrong, and he's been at my rally a few weeks before, whose fault is it?
Dude, I just said this, and I got smoked for saying this. When Kai had his meetup, I wasn't angry at Kai, but I was trying to let them know that famous people nowadays have a little bit more access because we could just go straight to the phone. TV shows, you watch them on the sitcom. But now because we could just dial right into your phone, if Kai goes, hey, I'm going to be in New York. Now, he never said burn New York. He never said break the cars. He never told anybody to do that. In fact, he wanted to just show up and have a great time with the people that love him. He had a great heart for it. But he has to take responsibility for that because none of those problems would have happened if he didn't tweet, I'm going to be there.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So you have that level of responsibility to a degree is scary. And Kai, he's young, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's young, yeah.
But he's, by the way, great kid. And the people were getting so mad and saying that I'm a huge fan of Kai. I love his content. I love his heart. Every time I see him, he has a great smile. He's a great soul. I was just saying you have to be, with great power comes what?
Great responsibility.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, no, and you're completely right. So then you have to tie all that in. So I am scared about the fact that someday someone's going to say, you know what, this guy's causing too much problems or he has too much influence. Can he just...
Why wouldn't they do
can
that
he just
already?
crash his car? Can his jet just crash? Can we just get rid of this guy? Because it fixes a lot of issues. And then you have to sit and say, is my life worth more than the trouble I'm causing to these people? They don't give a shit about me. They don't give a shit about anybody. So you do get to a position where it's scary. And then you have to sit and decide, well, do I want to sell my soul to the devil and cuck? Or do I want to just shut up and disappear, which is also cucking? Or do you want to live for something? And do you want to die as a name as opposed to a number? And I've made that decision, and I'll continue to do what I believe is best. But I think that also, and I want to say this here, I think it's the first time I've said it, I don't want to take too much credit. But I do believe the Matrix is cracking. I do believe now we live in an internet where you can say things you couldn't say 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where information is different.
Pendulum.
Oh, it's swinging. It's swinging. And I feel like I'm a huge part of that.
Dude, I'm not here to gas you up, because then I just look like the guy is sucking up to you. Again, there's a lot of things we disagree on, so I'm not sucking up to you. But I don't think anybody had the balls that you had.
Oh, absolutely. I went guns blazing at them, at the Matrix. And I went guns blazing at them. And I said on an earlier podcast, I said, this is a 3-stage plan. The Note Boys asked me, and they said, you became the most famous man in the world. You became the most Googled person on the planet. Every single TikTok video is you. Why did you do this? I said, this is stage 1 was to become the most known person on the planet, and stage 2 was to get canceled. That's how you put a crack in the dam for everybody to know who I am, and then know I'm canceled and try and find me somewhere else. And now,
oh shit! So you wanted to get canceled to show that doesn't even matter.
And I'm bigger than ever before.
So technically, dude, this song has been sung before when Jesus died and then came back.
Well, there's also.
And by the way, I'm not comparing you to Jesus.
No,
I want everybody to make sure.
This song has also been sung. I don't know if it was Aristotle or Socrates. It was one of them who was assassinated for corrupting the masculine youth. So this song has also been sung. One of them, I can't remember which one, was put to death because they said he corrupted the masculine youth because he told them not to join the army. So it's scary, right? But part 2 was to get canceled because I believed when I came up with this whole idea, when I sat there and I became religious, because I realized there's so much evil in the world, God must exist. You can't equal and opposite force.
Light has
science.
darkness.
Light has a darkness.
Yeah.
And I see so much pure evil. The devil must be real, which means God must be real. And I sat there and I decided, please remember, before I became massively overtly famous, I already had plenty of money. I didn't need money. I didn't need to do any of it. When I came up with my plan and I worked with the War Room, we put together a 1-year plan to become the most famous man on the planet, and I pulled it off and I did it. And my plan was to get canceled. And the reason was because I knew that the Matrix the dam had a bunch of pressure behind it. Everyone was tired of the censorship. But when you get canceled, you vanish. And I said, there's so much pressure behind the dam. The crack it needs is for someone to get canceled and stay relevant or become more relevant than before. Damn. Then people won't be.
And here, what I like about this podcast and this debate is George, that he didn't come like prepared, like asking dumb question like usually we are here in the podcast, like how usually people ask him like la la la, same question, same boring question. No, he came and he says like, okay, we're gonna box 1-1. You're going to speak and I'm going to speak. You're going to preach and I'm going to preach in the same time. They're both going in the same direction. Like this guy have a lot of knowledge and this high guy, same knowledge. They are like this. Usually Andrew is like this when he talk, but today George pull it off. They are like this. He's not far from him because George is also speaking facts, truth, whatever comes to your mind. He's saying it.
Anymore. So then they'll start to talk. And when I got canceled, and I moved to Rumble, and I put together the whole big Rumble thing, and I put together my final message, and I said my unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. And I sat down with Patrick Bet David and I said, they fucked up. They shouldn't have deleted me. They sitting around thinking they've got rid of me. They made a mistake. And then the Matrix got pissed off. I got bigger, so they threw me in jail, which made me bigger. So like all of this.
Oh, so maybe that's why they don't want to assassinate you, dude.
But that's the final solution.
I know, but
I shut up.
But think about all the people that get assassinated, bro. Like
they become Mars. You know, it's interesting. I won't say who, but a very famous and very intelligent right-wing commentator said to me when I was talking to him about all of this, and he agreed with every single word I said. He said, the only way out is through. You have to get so big they're scared to kill you. It's the only way, or they're going to get rid of you. If you stay in the middle, you're going to go. You have to get so big that killing you will cause the problems they don't want you to cause alive.
Have you ever read Job?
No.
Job is a man, and the devil comes up to him, and he goes, of course, he worships you. You gave him everything.
Yeah.
And God goes, okay, fine, go test him, but you can't take his life. You can do anything you want.
I think carry on, but
you can't take his life. Yeah. And he does. And so the tactic is, we got to remember that life is held in God's hands, not the devil's hands.
Yep.
So this whole entire demons or these matrix or anything that they want, as much as powerful as we all think they are, they only move when God wants them to move.
I agree with
And when I came to this industry, my mom said one thing, because I was scared. I was scared of the Illuminati. I was scared of all this stuff. And my mom hit me with a reference that had to do with my industry. And she goes, if God says action, who has the authority to say cut?
I love that.
Wonderful.
You want to take a quick smoke break and then come back? Because I have to pee really bad. And I haven't even touched my notes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh,
God, I drink so
hit me with the second part. This one was. I was excited. It was so nice. The part one was so nice. I hope you're gonna talk about the Logan Paul and how it was and how he cracked and how it was mysterious. I would like to hear him talking about this. I don't wanna. He came through. George came through.